On today's session of Let's Talk About It, we're talking about business class computers versus retail computers. So James, what happens when a client wants to buy a computer? They have to add one or replace one. What do you recommend they do?
Well, frequently, believe it or not, people sometimes buy retail, and we hate when they do that. And the reason is that they're usually just not as good a machine as a business class one. So we're always going to recommend our customers get business class machines.
So what does that mean, business class machine?
They're built better. There's a lot of R&D go into them. They test the components, make sure everything works together, the sound card, the video card. That's a lot less important than it used to be, of course. Most things are built into a motherboard now, so that's all included. But it's just that they've spent more time on them. They're meant to be running nonstop for, what, 5 years? It's about the lifespan of a computer.
So if I want to build my own, that's maybe not such a great idea?
You know, look, you and I can probably build ourselves a machine that's going to be really fast. It'll be probably cheaper than you'd find anywhere. But who's going to support that? Who's going to build that? Who's going to shop for all those parts, do those things? So we'd prefer to go with a big manufacturer, a big name, with the 3-year warranty. I think that's pretty critical. And you're only going to get that with a business class computer, in my opinion. You know?
Right. I think one of the nice things about that too is that if you have a 3-year warranty on it, you essentially know what your cost for that piece of hardware is for the next 3 years.
Yeah, you don't have to worry anything goes wrong. Typically things go wrong in the beginning, right? Hard drive fails almost right out of the box, or they last for the 5th, 6th, the 7th year. Sometimes you'll see something go, but the warranty, I think, for the peace of mind, for the sleep factor at night, I think is pretty critical.
So what happens? You do buy one of these machines, and you do have a failure, a hard drive fails on it. What happens?
Well, there's you call the manufacturer, you give them the serial number, they'll check that it's on warranty. And what they do is they send you a replacement hard drive. And most of the time we try to get what they call next business day on-site warranties. So it means that they're sending the parts next day. They'll give you the option of sending an actual technician with it to change it for you, or do we just send you the part and your IT guy changes it? So both scenarios are acceptable, but the 3-year next day on-site I think is critical.
So that completely covers you then. You don't have to worry about even the labor. It's even covering that in some cases.
Well, let's be honest. We'd probably have to put the Windows back onto this new hard drive. We'd have to reconfigure things for the user. So there is some time involved, but the hard drive costs are covered, the travel costs, to send it, the delivery costs, things like that. And again, that peace of mind factor. Typically, we would have an image maybe of these machines that we'd store somewhere that we could quickly put them back to a standard setup, and then we just configure specifically for the user. But this is all part of what the MSP is meant to do for you. We're talking more about the hardware itself being covered. I think that's critical, And all the big players do it, Dell, HP, all those guys.
And then I don't have to go spend my time shopping around for what I really don't even know is the right computer for my business.
That's a good point, because frequently the customer is going to call you from the store and they're going to say, what do you think of this? And they're taking pictures of the screen, they're taking pictures of the little labels, and do you think this is good? And and so we're spending the time almost anyway, explaining to them what they should or shouldn't buy. Maybe they should just let us take care of that from the get-go, And now you've sent someone to the store, so they're not doing their job. Who's going to be sent to the store? Is that the boss himself? Is that the administrative person? Does she have the credit card? How is she going to pay? It's just, why deal with that stuff?
And you obviously the specs that are required for what they're utilizing it for.
That's it. We're going to know exactly what they need. We've sold 100 of these before. They have other ones like it in their shop, so we kind of want that. If we wanted to do imaging, let's say, where we want to take a picture of the machine as it is and copy it to many other machines that are identical, all of these things can be preserved when you order business class. But buying retail, it's just a bad idea. And some of the reasons why they're going to do that is it kind of looks cheaper. It looks, the short-term versus long-term costs. It looks like it's a cheaper machine perhaps than something you'd buy business class, but there's little caveats. And I'm sure you can tell me what some of those caveats are, right? Not the right version of Windows, right?
It happens all the time. We see it, and it ends up costing the client more because they have to pay to have it upgraded.
Right. So what do they typically do is they'll say, since it's already been purchased, can you guys just upgrade it to Windows 10 Pro or whatever version is going to be compatible with their server? Now you're spending the time on that. You're buying an additional license. So it's never a savings really. And the warranties we found, if they have one, for sure they're going to have at least a 1-year warranty, but it's usually depot, meaning bring it back to the store, bring it back to wherever it was you got it. So those people are probably not going to take attention, to back up your data. They're not. So
and downtime. I would imagine
that's the other thing.
You've got all this downtime then.
That's the other thing. It's great to have a warranty, but if it's not on site, now you've got to take the machine, physically bring it back to where it goes. Who's going to do that? And now that person, what are they working on? What are they doing that whole time while you do the swap out? And you can be sure that most of these places are not doing it same day. They're not fixing your computer on the spot if something goes wrong. You're in a list, you're on a lot, So, yeah.
And are you always buying new? I think you also, we had talked about before some recertified machines and refurbished machines.
Yeah, they're a really good option these days. So what we ask the customer is we say, can you give us a budget? Give us a budget of what it is you want to spend. And this also leads into that retail factor. Like, why are they buying retail? Because it's a little cheaper than a business class. So if that's your budget, if you really want to spend that amount, then we'll find you something that's refurb. They still have the 3-year warranties. They're still business class, so they're really good machines. They're just going to be less than new, obviously, So that's another good avenue that we use quite a bit, actually. We sell almost more of those than we sell brand new, believe it or not.
Right. Wow. Yeah. Good savings then, I bet.
They're about half the price of new, I would say, and with the 3-year warranty, and it's, they send you the parts. They don't send a guy to your site, but they'll send you, they'll return the machine, they'll take it back. To me, that's really powerful. Peace of mind again, right? That's right. The whole point of this, is that the customer doesn't have to worry. And at those prices, when they're half price of new, they can even have a spare lying around that we could have configured, ahead of time, so we
all
can just
set to go,
swap it out, right? So no, it's a really good option. Yeah, the way I sell them is I'll say, if you want latest and greatest, we can order from certain manufacturers, build everything on the spot when you ask for it. Other manufacturers will build a bunch of stuff and they'll put it on a shelf. So what happens with those is they're still brand new. They still have the warranty. They're just a little bit cheaper because, they're called end of life. They basically don't show that processor on the website any longer because a newer one has come out. So that's another avenue. They're sitting on a shelf. We can get them quicker than the ones that are built for our spec. And then, of course, the third class we would sell is those refurb ones, which again are sitting on a shelf somewhere ready to go. So we can get them quick and they're cheaper. All around, really good solutions for our customers.
That's great. Be sure to check us out next time on Let's Talk About It.